The White Mountains, a loose translation of the Sindarin Ered Nimrais Whitehorn Mountains, is a fictional mountain range in J.R.R. Tolkien's Middle-earth. The mountains are named after the glaciers of the highest peaks. The range lies mostly east-west, but also has a northern section, which is separated from the main line of the hitherto misty mountains by the Gap of Rowan. Even at the southern latitude of Gondor and Rowan, the White Mountains bear snow even in summer, suggesting they are extremely high. The range has no passes. The paths of the dead pass under it, but only the most courageous ever venture that route. The White Mountains form the northern boundary of Gondor and the southern boundary of Rowan, except in their easternmost provinces, where Gondor's province of Anorin lies to the north of the mountains. Its notable peaks include Ironsaga, Ironsaw, and Starkhorn. Between these two lies the Dwemerberg, entrance to the Paths of the Dead. At the eastern end, the city of Minas Tirith is carved into Mindoluan Mountain. The warning beacons of Gondor are placed on top of 7 peaks in the range: Amundin, Ilenik Nardol, Aralis, Minrimin, Calenhad and Halafirian. Several rivers rise in the White Mountains, among them the Adorn, the Snowborn and Mering Stream, and, on the south side, the Erui, a tributary of Anduin, the Ringlow and its tributary Cyril, which together with the Morth and all enter the Bay of Belfallas at Edhelland near Dol Amroth, the Lefnui of the Anforlas, and the 5 rivers of Lebanon. In the Second Age, the White Mountains were populated by a people related to the Dunlendings who had been servants of Sauron. They swore allegiance to Isildur, but betrayed him and were cursed. They became known as the Dead Men of Dunharrow. Of the paths, Aragorn, Gimli, Legolas, and the ranges later took. Before the Dunlendings, the White Mountains had been home to the Pukal men of Drúdain. Inspiration. Tolkien found inspiration in the Malvern landscape which he had viewed from his childhood home in Birmingham and his brother Hilary's home near Evesham. He was introduced to the area by C.S. Lewis, who had brought him here to meet George Sayre, the head of English at Malvern College. Sayre had been a student of Lewis, and became his biographer, and together with them Tolkien would walk the Malvern Hills. Recordings of Tolkien reading excerpts from The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings were made in Malvern in 1952, at the home of George Sayre. The recordings were later issued on long-playing gramophone records. In the liner notes for J.R.R. Tolkien reads and sings his The Hobbit and Amp, The Fellowship of the Ring. George Sayre wrote that Tolkien would relive the book as they walked and compared parts of the Malvern Hills to the White Mountains of Gondor.